Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks a lot to everybody who joins this webinar that the Romanian Fintech Association is organizing as a result of discussions and of the initiatives of the digital finance strategy of the European Commission. My name is Tudor Stanciu. I'm the Interim President of the Romanian Fintech Association. I'm going to be moderating this webinar, where we'll have a series of speakers from different entities, different authorities, coming on stage to discuss and give their input on what is relevant to be included in this EU digital finance strategy that is currently in public consultation. We're going to hear also from members of the Romanian Fintech Association, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. We're one of the newest fintech associations in the European Union. We're also lucky to have with us some representatives from the National Bank of Romania, from the Financial Supervision Authority, that are going to share their thoughts on this aspect. And at the end, at around 11:20, based on the agenda, we're going to have 30 to 40 minutes where anybody out of the people that have registered can come on stage, so to say, and share their thoughts about this area of digital finance and the digital finance strategy, based on their take and their area of activity on the market. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to spend no more than 10 minutes. Let's see, I'm going to try to share a screen. But before that, a couple technical aspects. If you have any kind of questions for the speakers, or you see some certain topics that need to be addressed, please, you can add them as questions in the question section of the webinar, and we'll address them, and you can come on stage and address them at the end of all the presentations. So we make sure we have time for everybody who's on the agenda to have their say, and after that also give word to the other participants. If you have troubles connecting, or you experience any kind of technical issues, the suggestion is to use a Chrome browser on your laptop or desktop, because it works better than other types of platforms. Okay, technical details out of the way. I'm gonna try to share a screen with a short presentation about the Romanian Fintech Association, which I hope is visible to everybody. And I'm going to briefly tell you a little bit about the way we've come about with the Romanian Fintech Association, and a little bit about the history of the fintech movement in Romania. First of all, what's relevant to know about the Romanian Fintech Association, or RoFin.Tech, as we call it, it's that its aim is to grow innovation and digitization in the financial services industry. We're built as a professional entrepreneurial association, as we like to call it, because the idea of the association came when several of the entrepreneurs active in the fintech space in Romania, some of which you're going to see on stage a little bit later on, decided to come about the idea and come together to form an association or an entity that would help promote both their activity, but also the idea that more people are needed in the fintech and the digital finance space for a strong fintech industry and a strong fintech vertical to grow in this space. And it's always been a question of not only quality of people, but also quantity and numbers, and that's one of the areas in which we're focused of the Romanian Fintech Association, of bringing more people with relevant expertise or maybe just passionate about the area of fintech into this space, so they can either contribute to existing projects or start their own projects in the space of fintech. I'm going to give you just a very brief overview about the history of fintech in Romania. Starting with 2016, from my knowledge, that's when the first hackathons focused on fintech took place in Romania. After that, we had a series of years when a lot of events started to pop up, which were specifically focused on fintech. Regularly in Romania, you have 2 or 3 conferences, yearly conferences that are focused on fintech. And as a result of the meeting place and the meeting of minds that these community events were over these past 2 or 3 years, the Romanian Fintech Association was born at the beginning of 2020. As I mentioned, we're an entrepreneurial professional association because the members of the associations are companies founded by Romanian founders that are developing tech products to solve financial services needs or address specifically areas of financial services. That's not to mean we're not aiming to work, and we are working with most of the entities or all of the entities that are involved in the area of financial services or in the area of digitizing financial services. But we decided to take this approach of focusing on creating a meeting place for startups and scale-ups, for technology companies that are built by Romanian founders, even though they may not be necessarily focused or established or currently established in Romania. But we want to have this idea of an association that helps startups and scale-ups grow and reach other markets, grow their activities, and focus a lot on innovating the area of financial services. Apart from members, we also focus on working with supporting partners, which can be any other entity. We're currently in the works of getting on board banks, insurance companies, technology companies that want to support the mission of the Romanian Fintech Association. And we're open to collaborate and work with any kind of entity that is interested in what Romanian Fintech stands for. The aim, in a nutshell, is to create more resources for the fintech space, meaning more startups, more people that are working in this space, more access to markets, not only the Romanian market, but also other markets which we've been in touch with through the help of similar fintech associations in that space. But also try to educate more people and bring more people into the space of fintech. And this area of community events, of education events, we're basically taking upon a former brand, which was called FinTech Camp, to organize these kinds of events. FinTech Camp is a network of fintech communities started in Romania, which over the past years has had different chapters, not only in Romania, but also in other cities in Central and Eastern Europe. The idea is to bring fintech closer to the people, because fintech in Bucharest or in Cluj may mean something different than fintech in Budapest or Zagreb or other parts of Europe. So this local flavor is really relevant in terms of financial services and innovation in this space. The members of the Romanian Fintech Association up to this date are 16 companies. These are the founding members, which got together at the beginning of 2020 to organize this event, this association. Sorry, the membership is open to any company operating in any vertical of fintech, whether it's wealth tech, insurtech, or other separate niches of fintech. You can see some of the sectors covered by the members, and this is a slide of all the names of the current members of the association. These at the moment, from my personal review, I think these cover around 60 to 70% of the fintech initiatives which are active and ongoing in Romania, probably more. There are a lot of companies that are being founded and have been operating on the market for the past 2 or 3 years and have proven their track record on this space. We also have companies which are just at the outset of their progress, but all of them are currently active on the market and are trying to do the best they can to support this mission of bringing more digitization in the sector of financial services. I mentioned about partners and the idea of supporting partners. I just wanted to clarify that the association is open to anybody working in this space, either banks, insurance, asset management companies, investors, consultancy companies. And I recommend that anyone who has an interest in this area of digitization and innovation in financial services reach out to us to see exactly how we can interconnect our activities and move this idea of fintech forward. This is a slide which is really interesting. These are still our plans for 2020. They are a little in the being reshuffled, so to say, and reorganized in the context of the current situation that we're going through. But from the outset, at the beginning of 2020, we decided that this year would be a year where we would focus on 2 particular areas. One would be market outreach, meaning creating cross-border online projects and events. We were meaning to do delegations in other countries of Romanian fintechs, going and interacting with ecosystems and corporate partners and other startups in other countries of the European Union with the help of our partners, the national fintech associations in those respective countries. We're moving slowly and discussing about moving this part of the activity for the remainder of the year in an online fashion. And we're trying to see exactly how this is going to work. And we're also trying to reach out to the larger community in Romania and beyond to see exactly how we can help the fintechs which are currently part of the association, or how these fintechs can help other companies which are just coming onto the market achieve their goals. And the second area in which we wanted to basically help the Romanian Fintech Association get on the map for 2020 is the area of policy making. That's to say, starting to get on the approval mechanisms and the input mechanisms whenever a regulatory proposal or a request for consultation is being made by an authority either in Romania or at an European level. But also, and this is really important, we're one of the founding members of the European Digital Finance Association, which was kickstarted in February of this year. It's a meeting of minds of the national fintech associations. Currently, I think we have 14 or 15 national fintech associations as part of the membership, as part of the founding members from a lot of the countries in the European Union. The idea is to have a body that represents the needs of fintech startups and scale-ups across the European Union, regardless of how small they are, because upon discussing with all of my colleagues in other national associations, they feel the need, they know that their members feel this need of being better represented at an European level, in direct contact with the European Commission, with the European Parliament, and with other bodies that would regulate areas in which they would want to enter. So the idea is to have basically a common voice for the hundreds of startups and companies that are operating in the fintech space at the moment in the European Union. Of course, it's a process in the making, and we've also done a first action to interact with DG FISMA by sending an open letter on proposals of measures to be taken after the current crisis, or in the context of the current crisis, to enable fintechs and digital finance to grow in the European space. I think it was sent a couple of weeks ago. So these are the areas and the focus for 2020. That was all of the presentation I had. Just to give you a little bit of input, we're focusing a lot on, and I think from my perspective, this is an important aspect in terms of the digital finance strategy. We're focusing on how we can bring the activities at the European level on a national and on a very local level, because I think we need to bridge this, let's say, a gap that may be felt at times between what is happening on an EU level and what is happening locally. And I encourage everyone to reach out to us whenever they have a project in this area and see how we can work together. This is the current board of directors, which I'm very happy to work with. And I'm very happy that, as I mentioned, this association could not have been possible if the local members and the fintechs did not come together and decide to build the association for their needs and their aspirations.